I've always known our HOA president, Marlene Simmons, had a flair for drama, but I never imagined she'd faint on my driveway over a simple gate. My ranch sits on 60 acres of rolling pastureland that's been in my family for 3 generations. When Maple Hollow Estates sprouted up next door, with its manicured lawns, matching mailboxes, and more rules than sense, I figured we'd coexist like oil and water. I'd tend my cattle, they'd host wine tastings. No big deal. But Marlene had other plans. For years, she's insisted that my ranch's private lane is shared community access. Even though it's legally deeded to me, she likes to stroll her tiny designer dog right up my gravel road, wave to her followers on Facebook Live, and tell them how rustic charm makes her community quaint. I let it slide, until last month when I caught her leading an entire neighborhood wellness walk down my lane, through my horse paddock, and straight to my pond. They even brought picnic baskets. No call, no permission, just 40 HOA members acting like my land was their park. After that, I installed a proper ranch gate. Heavy steel, lock chain, big sign, private property, and no trespassing. Clear as day. Next morning, Marlene showed up in a pastel tracksuit, tugging her trembling poodle behind her. She saw the gate, clutched her chest, and launched into a screech about restricting community access and breach of neighborhood trust. I calmly reminded her my family owns this land, her HOA has zero claim. That didn't fly. She stomped off, promising I'd hear from her lawyer. Instead, 2 days later, I heard from the sheriff. Marlene had called 911 claiming I'd illegally trapped a public easement. The deputy who showed up, Deputy Harris, knows me well. He took one look at my deed paperwork, the iron gate, the sign, and sighed. He radioed in to tell dispatch there was no crime here, just an angry neighbor with boundary issues. But while he was explaining this to Marlene by my mailbox, she went full soap opera. She gasped, wobbled, threw the back of her hand to her forehead, then crumpled right onto my gravel drive like an old barn door. Deputy Harris radioed for EMS, but when they arrived and checked her over, they found nothing wrong. Not a stroke, not heat stroke, just good old-fashioned theatrics. But Marlene refused to move, moaning about my gate and my path and my blood sugar. Harris offered to help her back home, but she refused. "I will not leave until you remove that gate," she shrieked, swatting at a paramedic with her HOA binder. So Deputy Harris did the only reasonable thing. He radioed the county. Next thing I know, one of his buddies drives up with a pop-up emergency tent and a camp chair. They pitched it right there by my gate. "If she wants to stay, she stays," Harris said, deadpan. "Can't have her lying in the sun. But you're not taking that gate down." So there she sat, fuming in a bright blue pop-up tent like some petty queen in exile, while neighbors slowed down to gawk. After an hour, her husband showed up in a shiny golf cart, saw the scene, and nearly choked laughing. He tried to coax her back to the HOA clubhouse, but she threatened to fire him from the landscaping committee if he touched her. So he shrugged, wished me luck, and drove off. By dusk, the mosquitoes arrived, so did the local news. Some neighbor tipped them off, and there was Marlene, spotlighted on the evening broadcast, wrapped in a fleece blanket next to my big "No trespassing" sign. She finally broke when it started raining around midnight. I found her tent abandoned the next morning, mud caked on the designer dog's leash she'd left behind. Next HOA meeting, she tried to fine me $500 a day for the gate. I showed up with my land survey, my title deed, and Deputy Harris, who politely explained how private property works. Marlene still tries to scowl at me when she drives by, but that gate's still locked. My cows graze undisturbed, and the only thing that collapsed that day was her illusion that my land was her personal park.